Okay, guys, welcome to another segment of Let's Talk Football, and let's not waste any time. This is our time to really just talk football, talk about what's going on in world football at the moment. Yeah, let's just see that. If you have any thoughts, any comments, just drop them down. Yeah, let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is I think it's the hottest thing right now at the moment, especially with this transfer window. Darwin. Darwin to Liverpool is a transfer that would really benefit Liverpool, especially now that Mane is going. But having this out and out striker, player that is, although you could point out to the many flaws of Darwin, one thing you cannot deny or forget about this guy is just his finishing, especially in that game against Liverpool in the Champions League. That one was just impressive. Let me just bring up some of his stats so we can look at him better. Okay, so this season, in 41 games played, Darwin has scored 34 goals and assisted four times. That's 38 goal contributions. He scored 26 in 28 league games and has also scored 6 goals in the Champions League and in 10 games, which for me is what matters most because it shows that Darwin is a player that shows up in the big moments in those, the biggest stage against the biggest competition. Darwin is the type of player that will also show up. He will not shy away from those moments. And we saw that against Liverpool. And that is perhaps the reason why Liverpool was so keen on signing Darwin. I was, doing a look on Darwin and seeing what other people were saying about him. And I saw that a lot of people were pointing to the flaws of his game, like how he doesn't complete that many passes, how his dribbling is not all that. He uses his pace to get past players. And to that, I say, although Darwin is not the finished product yet, this is a player that you could really point out a lot of, the flaws with him. But number one, Darwin is very young. Darwin's only 22 years old. He'll turn 23 by the end of this month. And number two, Darwin will be working with arguably the best manager in the world. You can talk about Pep, you can talk about the likes of Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, but a case could be made for Klopp being one of the best managers in the world. And once you put a player like Darwin next to a manager like Klopp, and in that Liverpool environment where everyone just seems to, perform to the best of their abilities, I think Darwin's going to be Actually, I'm not going to say that what Darwin's going to be or what he's not going to be, but I'll say this: it looks promising for Liverpool. I don't want to jinx anything. Not to a player, especially not to a player that used to play for Benfica. I like Darwin. I've watched him for some time now for the past 2 seasons, and I really want him to do well, even though it's Liverpool, and that's quite a scary sky for Manchester United, a team that bottled the signing of Darwin again. But nonetheless, Liverpool have done a great job, and hopefully Darwin will perform well for them in this coming season. Yeah, Darwin may not be the finished product yet, but with Klopp and the development that he will see under Klopp, I truly hope that he'll become. What am I saying? I truly hope. I know he'll become a much better player. It may take time. It may take this whole season, and then he'll come into his own next season. But again, you look at a player like Robertson, where Klopp took him from what was the team? Hull City back in the day where he was playing with Maguire. You look at a player like Robertson. Robertson was also just a promising player that could perhaps come to Liverpool and go into that type of player, and that's what he's done. And looking at this entire Liverpool side, one thing you cannot deny is the development of the players and how all the players that come in and are asked to do a job, they all deliver on that. Allison, Van Dijk, Konate this season, Salah, Trent coming up through the ranks, um, Mane, Jota, Thiago this season. It just looks like Liverpool don't miss on those signings on the transfer window, and it's not so much because these players are not flops or anything like that, but it's also because they're seeing the right type of development during their time and during the time of the team. Again, once you put a top class manager with these type of players, that's really what happens. But yeah, getting away from Darwin a bit and going into Gavi. This is another player that Liverpool are looking to sign. And with Gavi, I hope this transfer does not happen. Not so much because of Liverpool. I think that would be a great signing for Liverpool, but mainly because of Barcelona. Barcelona are trying to build something with Xavi here. Xavi's 17 years old. He's going to turn 18 this season. And this is a player that is really coming, that in the future, let's say that in the future, will really be coming into his own. I mean, that game against Portugal where they drew 1-1, the way Gavi bossed the midfield against Portugal was Gavi's 17. Of course, Liverpool want him, but I think that selling Gavi, even with the financial situation of the club, even if it is for 40 million, I just beg Barcelona to not do it. I am not a Barcelona fan, but I am a football fan. This is what JVM football is about. We don't discriminate any football clubs in this channel. This is just purely football. Whenever I talk about a team, I'm going to always take that team side and say the most positive thing that I can about that team. And if I have to give constructive criticism, it will be that constructive criticism and not hate. So if I'm looking at a team like Barcelona, a midfield with the likes of De Jong, Gavi, and Pedri, over the next 5 seasons, that could really become the best midfield in the world. These three could really be the successors to that iconic midfield of Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta. I'm not saying they are that level yet. I'm not saying they'll ever be at that level, but the potential is definitely there with all three of these guys. So selling Gavi would be a stupid mistake, extremely, extremely stupid mistake. And you also take into account the fact that how many games are there in La Liga? 38 games. Gavi has played in 34 of those games and started 28. He's become an essential piece of this Barcelona squad. So there's no way Barca are going to sell him. But if they do, Liverpool will be sending a message that this is a team that is no longer, I mean, they were never really scared, but that will do whatever it takes to stay at that top level. I mean, and they have to do this with the likes of City signing Haaland. You have to keep up. You have to keep those players coming, those signings coming, so top players around Europe coming into your team. So that's why I think the signing of Gavi would mean for Liverpool. It would be a great signing for Liverpool. I just think that would be a terrible signing. I mean, a terrible deal for Barcelona, as they would be giving up one of their young, promising players that I really believe could create something special under Xavi with the likes of De Jong and Pedri in the squad. So yeah, regarding Gavi to Barcelona, I don't think that's too much of a good idea. I don't think Barca should be looking to even entertain these type of deals. But again, that club, the management around the club is a bit of a shambles. So you never know. But again, if Liverpool can do this deal, it's truly impressive. And I mean, for Gavi, he will still be getting the playtime he wants, and the wages are being reported at around 147,000 per week. How can that Gavi, you know, turn that down? Even with a young Barca core, I mentioned those three midfielders, but then you also have the likes of Araujo and Ansu Fati. Barca could really be building something special right here, and that's the only reason why I don't want them to sell Gavi. It would be a very, very stupid mistake. But we move on from Gavi, and now let's talk about Frankie de Jong to Manchester United. The CDM position for Manchester United has been a problem for a long time. I want to say 5, 7 years. Manchester United have struggled with this position, and every single summer they failed to deliver on this position. Maybe the only time where they really tried to cover this, this problem at was the 2018 transfer window when they signed Fred. But we know how that turned out. I'm not saying Fred is not a good player. I'm not saying Fred is all that bad as some people make him out to be. But Fred's not that guy for Manchester United. They need a proper CDM, and not only a proper CDM, but if you have to get someone right now, if you have to get one of a CDM to come to Manchester United at this time and moment, then it has to be De Jong. One, De Jong has already worked with Ten Hag. He already knows what Ten Hag is about, and that you know that core, that span of the team. Having De Jong there, De Jong in the middle, Ronaldo up front, and the hair at the back. I think that that's a good base for um, Ten Hag to start working with. I think that's an area, at least a base of which Ten Hag can develop from. And De Jong is really that guy. If I'm pretty sure if Ten Hag had to choose someone, I mean, if he was given a free pass to sign any player for that position, it would be De Jong. I just feel that Manchester United are an incompetent club when it comes to the transfer window, at least in getting the signings that need to be done. I would give them props, however, for last season for getting in Varane and Sancho and Ronaldo, but we know how the season turned out. They did sign the players that they needed, but the season turned out how it did. So again, an incompetent board, let's say that, which ended up in being the season that it has been. Manchester United may not sign De Jong. This due to the fact again that what I just spoke about Gavi. This is a Barcelona side that's trying to build something here. And although the club do need the money at the moment, selling De Jong would be, I think, in my opinion at least, a big mistake. Once you already have a young, excellent foundation in the middle of the park with De Jong, Gavi, and Pedri. You sell De Jong to United, you sell Pedri to Liverpool. In the next 5 years don't look as promising as they looked with those players in the team. So for that, I would say, yeah, De Jong to United would be a great deal for United, but not a good deal for Barcelona. It is really similar to that, you know, Gavi deal to Liverpool is very, very similar in both senses. The only difference that I would say is that De Jong to United is more urgent, and I think would have a much greater impact on the team and on what Ten Hag is trying to do. Whereas Gavi to Liverpool, that would help Klopp on his vision for the team, but it's not like a deal breaker if it doesn't happen. I think Liverpool will still be Liverpool. They'll still perform at the highest level, even without Gavi. It's just that Gavi would be a nice bonus to have in the team. Whereas with De Jong, it's like a must have signing. Okay. Well, I wanted to go with this is that, yeah, again, United may not get this deal done. They're taking their time, and even the fee for De Jong is around the 60, 70 million pounds. I think the United can spend their money better elsewhere. Now, you're looking at a player from PSV like Sangare, who's had over three clearances per game and over two tackles per game last season at PSV, being PSV's best player, most impactful player last season. And yeah, you can talk about the Dutch league. It's not really the Premier League. How will it translate? But for a player that has a release clause for around 35 million uh, pounds, a player that, unlike De Jong, wants to come to the club. I mean, it's less money. He wants to come, and the deal could be done much faster, and that would allow United to go and focus on other key positions like the centre back position, or perhaps a second backup striker to Ronaldo. If United went for Sangare, I think it would show how willing to not waste time United are in this transfer window. However, I still stand by the fact that, by my opinion, that De Jong is the ideal signing for Ten Hag, the ideal CDM signing for Ten Hag, and it would really, really create this strong spine for United. Again, Ronaldo up front, De Jong in the middle, and the hair in the back. That is something that Ten Hag could really happily work with. But if it doesn't work, Sangare is a very good option for United. And now we'll leave Manchester United transfer window and we go and talk about PSG just briefly, and this is pretty much from the fact that this is a team that I said at the beginning of the season had to win the Champions League. They were the favorites to win the Champions League, and to not win the Champions League would be a massive, massive underachievement and kind of embarrassing for the club, considering how much they spent, the deals they made, everything. The Neymar's 200 millions, the Mbappe's from Monaco, Messi on a free, and all the other deals that they've made. For them to not even get to the semi-finals of the Champions League is truly embarrassing. So for that reason, it is quite understandable why PSG are looking to, replace Mauricio Pochettino. I still think that Pochettino is a great manager. I am glad that United went for Ten Hag instead. But Pochettino is still a great manager. He could still do a job at a range of clubs around Europe. But PSG have just signed a new football advisor, and the links to Zidane and also Jose Mourinho are getting stronger. But as it stands, as the reports are coming out, it really looks like Zidane will be the one to come to PSG. I don't like this. I hoped that Zidane could perhaps be going to the French national team. I think that the story behind that would be much more, pleasant, if you want. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about Zidane going to PSG. Really, it would be good for PSG to have a manager that can put all of those players in their spot. I think Pochettino perhaps struggles with that in the changing room, but if Zidane walks in, he instantly gets the respect of everyone and the attention of everyone, and Zidane would be able to do the job. I mean, this is a man that has won 3 Champions Leagues and 2 La Ligas in 2 different timestamps with 2 different teams, pretty much 2 different teams, same club but completely different teams. So yeah, it's quite understandable why he is so desired by PSG. French icon as well, but again, Zidane to PSG does not sound like it to me. I'd much rather see Zidane, for example, not for example, the French national team. I think that would be much, much better. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly touch on that PSG topic because I think that is something that is quite important. One of the biggest clubs. I don't want to say clubs. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll say clubs. One of the biggest clubs in Europe with the most talented, the most impressive team in the world. Yeah, I really just hope that. I mean, I don't really hope, but at the same time, I don't want PSG to just completely fail like they did again. I hope that they make the right signings this summer, and Zidane will definitely be that type of right signing. And even getting Pogba on a free would be quite good for PSG. I think if Zidane goes to PSG, I think that's a lock on Pogba. I think that Pogba really wants to work with Zidane, and to be playing at a team like this as well would be perfect. I just don't know how Pogba going to PSG would really work out. The whole fair play thing, at least in regards of the wages. They're already paying stupid amounts of money to Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi. You plug in Pogba as well, and the wage structure at the club begins to look more and more dodgy. But let's leave PSG for now. And now I just want to talk. I'm gonna take this off. Just want to quickly talk about England, about the national team, and maybe even about the other national teams in the world, the likes of Brazil, the likes of Portugal, the likes of France. Some of the teams that I think are the favorites to win everything this year. But in regards to England, what I want to say is that Southgate is not him. Southgate is not that guy. Southgate is tactically inept, at least when compared to some of the other managers in international duty. He will get outplayed. He did get outplayed in the finals against Italy because he was too scared. Is Southgate a good manager? Yes, I think he's a good manager. I think, unlike popular belief, I think he could take a club in the Premier League. I think he could get a job in the Premier League. However, I don't think that for national team as big as England, with the history that England has, with the aspirations that the people in England have, and with the quality of the players, I don't think Southgate quite matches all of that. I think it's too much to ask from Southgate. And again, as I said, this guy is tactically inept, at least when compared to other managers around these national teams. Tactically, uh, they would wash him completely. So these recent results from England have not been good at all. And again, I don't want to scrutinize a man just on his recent results, because if you're looking at Southgate's tenure so far at England, has only been positive things really. A semi-finals in the World Cup, a finals now in the Euros, and the way he's bringing up some of these players, it is quite nice to see. But are they winning? No, they've not won anything. But yeah, but again, I think it would take a lot to sack Southgate, anyways. And yeah, even if he did like bad, like I'm talking about round of 16 getting knocked out, I think that he would still keep his job. I think he's too favored around the FA for him to get sacked like that. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the live into the end. If you were here, if you're watching this later, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this live or any other content, subscribe to the channel for more lives like this, for more videos. I'll be making a lot of videos now. I'm really looking towards starting up to upload every day again. That's really a goal for the summer. I've been uploading 3 times a week for the past like 6 weeks. Before that, I was uploading every day. So yeah, if you like this content, if you want to see more of this, consider subscribing to the channel. And as I say in every video, this is just the beginning of something special.